time to adapt. They try to control us with their lies and their schemes, but I'm a rise above, fulfill my wildest dreams. The beats be banging, the rhymes be tight, trap rap flowing through the darkest night. Don't mistake me for the sellouts on the screen. I'm spitting truth, we can question what you've seen. Mind over me, I'll break free from the mold. Trap rap revolution, we taking control. No more puppet strings, we standing tall. With every word I speak, I'll make them all fall.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media channel. I don't even know what day it is. Is it Thursday? It's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday, and we're here live, and I have Maza Media in the studio here. We're going to bring him in a second, but I want to welcome everybody in. And tonight, free flow conversation. Maza and I are going to talk about the Karen Reed situation and, all the crazy updates that have been coming in essentially daily. And just kind of, I want to get his background tonight on how he kind of got involved in this. And I want to highlight him and have him tell his story. So I won't wait too much longer. Let's bring Mazza in. And all the ladies are going to melt here because we have good lighting on him tonight and you'll be able to see him. And let's bring him in. Maz, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good, man. Welcome into LTL Studios.
Thank you.
What do you think?
It's awesome. I like the lighting in here, and you got a lot of equipment in here, so it looks pretty sharp. So I'm ready to go, and I'm fired up, and I'm excited to be here.
I think your camera is, you got to come in a little bit here
sure.
to the table, just so you stay in focus.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah,
Cool.
There we go.
Yeah. So welcome in. Actually, you're my second live guest here in studio. So like I was saying to Maz before we got on air, I go, dude, I'm like kind of like nervous, like second person in here, kind of nervous, but all works out, all good. And it's just kind of weird. Like I can actually have a face-to-face conversation with someone.
A month ago, nobody even saw my face. And here I am like,
yeah. Hello. Say hi to everybody. So everybody's saying hi to you in the chat, by the way. So
awesome.
super excited.
Yeah,
Tell me, man, tell me a little bit of your backstory here, how you got involved with, Karen's case and how you first heard about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually hacked on social media, and my channel went down, and not my channel went down, my social media page went down, and I just decided to stay off my social media page for a while. Then all of a sudden I said, I'm ready to go back on now. And I realized that I've been a Turtle Boy follower since 2013, 14, somewhere around there. And I ultimately just one day was sitting there and I'm like, I'm not really seeing any articles from Turtle Boy anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, did I ever refollow his page? So
Right,
I decided to refollow his page. And the next 2 or 3 days was not his. He used to bounce around with the subjects a lot. It'd be kind of a different thing all the time. And in this particular case, I noticed that he was talking about Karen Reed a lot. And there was a court case. And all of a sudden I see all these people outside the steps in Dedham with signs. And I'm like, what is he leading right now? What's going on? What is he up to? So I just started to get curious about it. I'm like, I've followed him for a long time, and I'm like, let's just figure out what's going on here. So I had some time to look into it. And it was right around the time where Karen and the defense team were standing on the front steps of the court. And basically she said, I was the only one that did anything. And Carl Dougal countered her and Alan Jackson said, she didn't do it. She didn't do it at all. So I'm like, this is peculiar in terms of you don't usually see someone that's on the defense and attorneys outright claiming that they're innocent. And the thing about Turtle Boy is I've followed him for a long, long time. And I've seen him follow cases or follow stories that have gone on. And he's had a very high success rate of what he's followed. Right. And I'm like, a lot of times he's talked about stuff. And I'm like, there was one thing I chimed in once on like 9 years ago. And I had some tips for him on. And I actually talked to him one time way back online. And I'm like, I might have some information for you here. And basically at the end of it, I only had so much information to give him. Yeah. And it was kind of an extension of what he already was going down. And then finally we just kind of talked and he said, I don't think I can pursue this thing anymore. That told me a lot about him right there, was that if he didn't have enough information to clarify a story, he would just move on.
Yeah.
So that told me right there that he had integrity, and he also only talked about stories that he truly believed in. So I always kind of had that faith in him and trust in him that he would carry out what he believed in. And when I saw this story going down, knowing his success rate, knowing exactly what he does when he pursues stories, I knew very well, I'm like, I got to look into this, because I know most of the time I don't remember any story where he was ever wrong about something, quite honestly. And I'm like, he's following this one pretty closely, where he's got people standing on the stairs with signs all like this. And I said to myself, this is pretty big right here. I need to start reading up on this stuff. So I started to do that. And I read up on it. And someone says, Brian, can you fix his focus? You don't look blurry.
Yeah, you should be all right.
You look pretty sharp.
Just pull that mic a little bit closer to you.
Sure.
You should be okay.
Sure.
Let's try that.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Hopefully the sounds better too.
Yeah.
So
let me just get to this really quick. Hans Gruber says, ladies, drop them heart emojis for Mazza. So blur is fine. Camera is off a bit, but it's okay. Camera is focusing on the mic or the background. Okay, interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, we're trying to get everything ironed out here. That's how these like lenses work. And again, I'm not a technical person. We're trying to do it, and we'll try to get through as best as we can. So yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I saw everyone standing out there, and these people were adamant that this woman was innocent. And I must have saw the story on the news, and it was like many stories. There's stories every day. Crazy stuff happens. It kind of goes in one ear and out the other. And that was exactly what happened to me, because I barely even recalled the story happening when it initially came out. So I said, let me look into this and see what's going on here, because this seems pretty intense. And the way Alan Jackson and Karen Reed were talking, they seemed to be extremely convincing in what they were saying about themselves. And then I started to do my own research. I started to read Turtle Boy's articles. I started to watch Turtle Boy's videos. I started to watch Microdots, who I'd never heard of before, for the first time. Started watching his videos. And basically the first weekend, where I had no plans, I had nothing to do, I could sit at home and just vegetate, because I'm usually just busy all the time. I said, I got some time to sit here on a Saturday and watch some of this footage and watch some things that have gone down and see what's going on. So I did. And after about 2 hours of that, I was like, this is nuts. Now,
would you watch Framed? Was that the one that kind of pulled you in?
I watched that, I think, the next day. Yeah. I think I watched that the next day. But I was watching a lot of like sparse clips, like him confronting Jen and Matt when they were walking out of the courtroom. They had the Justice for JJ pins on, that one. And then the one which was the field hockey game. I watched that one as well. So I was like I said, when I was watching this stuff, I was like, this is intense. It was a little tough to get an understanding of what was going on at first. That's why I started to rewatch it a bit.
Right.
Get some context, understand what was going on. And after I kind of watched all the videos that kind of were more like the shock type videos, which was confrontations and protests, things like that, I started to actually sit down and watch the videos that broke down what was actually going down.
Right.
Then I started to say, okay, let's get some context here. Once I got that context, I was like, this is crazy what I'm hearing here, what's going on, what Microdots was talking about in his video. And I was like, this is insane. And after I woke up on Sunday, I watched a lot of videos over again. Then I explored all those other videos, like Framed I watched, and a few other videos. And then I started now I thought I was only going to be into this for a couple of weeks. I thought I was going to have a phase. This was an interest for me.
It's not a phase.
Right. I was going to have some interest in this. Looks like I'm frozen on screen right now. So
yeah, my internet is wacky
I'm just
right
like
now.
all intense on screen.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this has been kind of the issue in here.
Yeah.
And I've been fighting this, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So excuse me 1 second.
Yeah. Sure. No problem at all. I'll just keep talking, and in the meantime,
this has been the big fight in the studio.
Yeah, I'm live again. Here we go. I'm back.
All right.
I'm active again. So I started to watch a lot of videos, and at that particular point, like I said, I thought it was going to be a phase. I thought this will be something I'm interested in for a couple of weeks, or maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
It's not a phase.
And then I'll just kind of move on and forget about it. That was over a year ago. That was last May. And I started to ask my friend questions. I had a friend that lived in Canton, and talked to him about it. He didn't know too much at the time. I'm like, what's going on in Canton anyways? What in the world is going on out there? And I just never thought that I would take to X, I would get a following on X, I would be doing, shows online that were geared around this thing. And then I just never would have foreseen what's going on right now, where I'm sitting in a studio with you. We're great friends now.
Yeah.
It's just all of a sudden things have just evolved. And I never thought I'd be actually, like, when I first saw those people standing on the courthouse steps protesting Free Karen Reed, I never thought a year later I'd be hanging out with those very same people, as passionate as they are,
Yeah.
as focused as they are, and as caring as I am. And that's exactly what happened. I got won over. And a lot of the trolls early on online said, you're just buying into Turtle Boy's quote unquote lies. And I'm like, I trust his integrity. I do. Whether they do or they do not, that's their own concern, but I trust his integrity. And I also did this independently by doing my own research, looking into my own intuition, looking at a lot of documents, reading things, doing a lot of critical analysis. And the more and more time went on, the more and more convinced I became. And quite frankly, once Turtle Boy got arrested in October, I was really convinced about the corruption that was going on. And then when he got thrown in jail in December, I really went over the edge in terms of just being fired up about this and determined to take part in this. And I was kind of casual with my discussions early on. And then after that, I was just way more calling up the young jerks, talking about it, giving my opinion, and just got so invested in this. It was incredible.
What is it for you that really connected, I guess, like what is it for you that took you to really fight for Karen in this situation?
I can't.
Where did you feel that connection?
I can't stand corruption, and I cannot stand people ganging up on one person and bullying them and try to put them in prison for murder. And I've never been a true crime person. I was a sports person for years, and maybe occasionally on my own personal blog that I barely use in recent years, I would talk about sports or local news. And I never really ever was someone that wanted to talk about crime. Occasionally some crime stories would interest me, but I never really had a true crime interest. And this whole true crime thing is totally new to me.
Yeah.
Maybe not new now, but it was a year ago.
Right.
Now it's like, I have people walk up to me like, "Oh, you're a true crimer, right?" I'm like, honestly, I'm just a random guy who was a guy that talked about sports. It kind of like Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy Sports was how he started. And then he evolved from there.
Yeah, you said you were doing a sports show and a wrestling show, or talking wrestling, and this kind of melted into what it's become now. So
for years, our first show was my first regular show was the Super Bowl 53 preview against the Rams.
Nice.
Then my friends and my cousin and I decided that they wanted to do a show the next week, and I'm like, okay, let's do a show next Thursday to review the Super Bowl. Then they're like, did you want to do another show the week after? And it just all of a sudden, next thing you know, 5 years went by.
So I want to do this. I want to apologize to everybody. Mazza's camera, I can see it. It is blurry. And I'm noticing that it is drawing down my Wi-Fi in here. This has been a huge issue in here, and it's kind of annoying. But we're going to continue through with the show, and I do apologize. Tommy was in here the night. Nothing has changed, and all of a sudden, like, it's saying that my Wi-Fi connection is unstable. So interesting, but the show will go on. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. So now you start getting involved, you start kind of creating a voice on X, and I think you're really good on that platform. That's something that I've tried to master, but I can't get it. But you do really well on it. And then that kind of spawned did you spawn off your YouTube channel from X, or you kind of had that and you turned it more into this kind of Free Karen Reed channel?
My X channel was actually just a backup channel, basically a backup platform that I used. And I just kind of had it there to occasionally in the past just say, oh, I'm streaming live now on YouTube. And that was about it. Maybe follow some people and just see what was going on with, some famous people, sports athletes, etc. So it was always there, but it was never really used. I started off with my blog because during that time, back in 2013, 2014, Barstool Sports was coming out. And of course, Turtle Boy was blogging a lot. And I kind of got caught up in that. I'm like, well, I can write. I have opinions. I can put stuff out.
Right.
Then I kind of got busy with life and everything, and kind of not walked away, but kind of, I can't do it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I can't do it on a regular basis. So I go, why don't I just leave it up? I don't have to shut the website down. It's there if I want to use it again. And then I said, a couple of years later, let's start doing that show. So that's when I did the Super Bowl 53 show. That led on to other episodes and then kind of evolved. Now, it was great because over the years, I kind of was able to craft my voice in terms of, talking all the time, being used to doing shows that lasted oftentimes 3 or 4 hours,
right,
quite a bit, and just get, moderate, got all this experience just doing this week in and week out, and went on with that for quite a while. Towards the end, I decided to shut that show down, and because I just started to decide to tweet. I don't know why I chose X, but I said, let me just talk on X. I just kind of chose it as my platform of choice and said, I'm going to stop doing the weekly shows. And some of the guys that were on my show, they had interests. Some of them are big pro wrestling fans. They're doing their own thing right now. So they're doing that. So they wanted to go more pro wrestling. I wanted to go much less pro wrestling because my interests and everything, all my hobbies are gone right now. I've been nothing but Karen Reed for about a year. And I just said, guys, we're going down a couple different paths here. You guys want more of this. I want less of this. I want to talk about Karen Reed. My shows would open up with like Karen Reed monologues and basically smack talking Massachusetts State police officers for arresting Turtle Boy in October. And then at that point I said, you know what? I don't want to do the weekly shows anymore. I'm done with that. And I decided I'm going to go on X. I'm going to start tweeting. I noticed people were kind of catching on to my posts, and I had followers that I was gaining. And then I had no plans at all to ever do shows for the foreseeable future.
right.
Until I started calling into the Young Jerks, who I started.
So he was taking live calls at that point. Or he still does, probably.
He was.
Keep talking. I'm going to see if I can get this.
Sure, you got it. While you're doing that, I'll adjust my glasses and talk on the show here. So I was talking with calling into his shows, and I called into one show before the Canton police audit. Rita Lombardi was a guest on that show, and I talked to Rita for the first time and asked her a few questions before they had the police audit vote in Canton that following Tuesday. I think it was a weekend show. And after that, I ended up calling in. To me, this is when I felt like everyone really started to meet Maza Media, was when I called in the night of Turtle Boy's in prison, being thrown in jail, basically, when he was taken away. And I called into the Young Jerks. I was absolutely furious about what happened, and I was not happy about it at all. But I also felt that we were in a situation as supporters of Turtle Boy and supporters of Karen Reed, where they were actively trying to discourage us and put us in a situation where we wouldn't have the faith to believe that, if we speak out about Karen Reed's innocent, well, guess what? It's going to be us being driven off and to jail next. And I decided to encourage everybody by calling into that show, basically one part going on a rant, one part motivational speech, and kind of telling everybody, stay strong. Because it was the most of this past year. That was the absolute moment. It was an absolute dark pit of the highest level when that happened. And I said, you know what? I can make a motivational speech right now, because I knew a lot of people were shook. And it's like Isaiah, Bill Lambier, who I'm not a fan of, from the Pistons, talked about leadership. And he goes, when a leader like Isaiah Thomas's confidence is shaken, the rest of the team's confidence is shattered. And Turtle Boy was the guy that was basically the head on this movement right here. He was the one that was getting this going. And for the first time ever, this guy, who was the biggest central focus among Karen Reed supporters, was being driven off into jail. And I said, you know what? I know exactly what to say to everybody right now. And I wanted to say to everybody, remain confident. Do not be scared. Stay strong and keep pushing forward, because we ain't got no quit.
Yeah.
And that was the message I wanted to deliver. And when I made that speech, I noticed that my following went up dramatically that night.
That's great.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Let me get to this really quick. Bridget May, $5. Thank you. Hey, to the YouTube hotties. When or are they already invested in Brian Higgins? It is like he's fallen off the radar. Everyone is focused on Proctor. I think that's because, all the news that just really come out from Proctor. But, I don't know, Maz. What do you think? I mean, we've heard some things. I think Brian Higgins was spotted in an airport. Some people had some reports. It's so funny. Like people just, they're on it. People are on it. So it's pretty crazy. But I don't know. I mean, everybody's kind of hiding right now, and I think they're trying to let this all fall on Proctor's head. But I think more things are going to follow behind. What do you think?
Proctor had a choice that he could have made way back when. He could have decided to not have any involvement with this. He could have told the people that perpetrated this, look, I don't want to have anything to do with this. You guys have made your own bed. You got to lie in it. But he made an investment in this, is what we believe, is that he actively perpetrated a cover-up, and some duration of it took the lead on it. He was in the Sallyport that video was inverted. That would have put them all on the right side of the taillight when you put that video back to normal sides. So in this particular case, this was the situation that we've all seen, is that this guy, he had no obligation. It was the same thing with Jen McCabe. Like, I don't believe Jen McCabe beat up John O'Keefe. I don't believe she slapped him or kicked him or, distracted him or sprayed him with mace or any of that stuff. So these were people that, so we believe were involved, allegedly. I like to do that just to cover my,
of course,
we believe these individuals were in some degree allegedly involved in this particular situation. And they all had a hand in it. If they did have a hand in it, they did that from a cover-up standpoint. That's what we believe. We believe that they probably had a hand in that from that particular standpoint. And they could have, any individual that was there that was not involved in the physical attack of John O'Keefe is basically an accessory at that point.
Right.
Once you're there, and you don't have any obligation to sit there and help them.
Right.
Basically, if some person in that house goes off and decides that they want to beat him up and take him down, you really don't have to get involved. You don't really have to get there and put yourself in a situation where 2 years later, you're on the stand having now to cover your own what,
right,
because you involved yourself. But I guess at the same particular time, from their perspective, because we believe that they were involved in it, allegedly, cover myself, they could have just walked on. But I guess if you're family and your friends, you don't want your family and friends to go down for something like that. But it's always my attitude in life that if someone messes up, you let them make their own mistake on their own merit. You don't sit there and try to cover up for it and help them out at all. So that's really, from my standpoint, I would say you have individuals here that were not physically involved in the murdering of John O'Keefe or the beatdown, that got themselves actively involved.
Yeah.
And you can't do that to yourself, because when it comes time for judgment to fall and investigations to come down and all that, guess what? It's now you on the hot seat.
Right.
And that's what we've seen here.
Yeah. Dina Jam, thank you so much for the $10. I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to let everybody know. I know we're having some Wi-Fi issues in here tonight, but this is recorded and it's crystal clear. So I'll probably end up re-uploading this tomorrow so you can actually get crystal clear video. And this is just something that I'm going to have to work out because this is really annoying. I'm kind of disappointed right now and I apologize. I do apologize, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, we go through this 8-week trial. We have no evidence to support the Commonwealth's theory at all. And now we're at this, the verdict. The mistrial, not a verdict. We don't have a verdict. Right. There's a mistrial in this. And we come back and we start hearing all this rumors about a split jury and it's 8-4. And, the greater charger, they were all agreeing on that she wasn't guilty on it. And now we have this very confusing thing where they say, well, two of the charges, the most major charge, we all agreed that she's not guilty.
Right. One
of the lesser charges, we agree that she's not guilty, but they're stuck on this manslaughter DUI. And I look at it and say, wait a minute here. They've proved, ARCA came in and proved there's no accident. So how can you say that she did this? Doesn't make any sense. And that's a question that I'm going to try to pose to Mark Betterow tomorrow when I have him on at 6. But I mean, what do you think? What do you think about this, Maz?
That was the charge that I thought was going to end up being the one that the jury got the most stuck on. That is exactly what happened, because I thought that basically whatever they determined on the first charge, basically the third count would go right along with it. So I figured those two were hand in hand. Then I figured if they do get stuck on anything, it's the other one. So the alcohol level and everything. But I always thought that one should just be thrown out because they never really got her sobriety tested. She was also at the scene later in the morning and they let her leave. And she didn't exhibit any signs of intoxication. She's on the video footage that's shown that morning from the police cam footage, dash cam footage. And you can see her pretty alert. She doesn't look like someone that was just drinking heavily 5 hours earlier. And she was as intoxicated as they claimed.
Right.
Which was 0.13 to about 0.28, I believe, when 0.08 or 0.07 is the legal limit in the state of Massachusetts. If she was at that level of intoxication, how was she so alert that morning at 5:30? She wasn't hungover. She wasn't extremely drunk.
And
was
even
very-
people said that when they
Right.
spoke to her, it didn't seem
right.
that she was intoxicated.
Right. They let her leave the scene of the crime.
Yep.
She would, they return there, they let her leave. And if there was any concern about this woman's intoxication levels at that particular point in the morning when she was there with Carrie and Jen, why did they let her leave? If she had said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, then why didn't they obtain her arrest at that particular time? They didn't do that. So if she was so drunk and did all this stuff and said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, then why not arrest her right there on the spot? But they did none of this because there was no grounds to do that. And furthermore, like I've always said, this cover up and what they claimed had happened was still being basically authored throughout that morning and into the next day, up to and including to when they brought that Lexus to the Sally Port.
Yeah.
And they manufactured more taillight that was amazingly discovered after the fact.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Let me get this in.
Sure.
Double M double $10. The question for the both of you: what is going to happen to the state police as an agency? Some type of department reform, or just stick it to one guy? I'll let you shoot, Maz. You're the guest. Go ahead. What do you think?
I missed that one.
Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah, sorry.
So it says a question for the both of you: what is
Oh,
going
here.
to happen to the state police as an agency? Some type of department reform, or just stick it to one guy? What do you think?
They're going to try to stick it to one guy.
Yeah.
They're always going to take the path of least resistance.
course.
We ultimately like to think that there's going to be this situation where it's going to be the falling down and there's going to be great change. And ultimately, sometimes you can only hope to move the needle.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens.
It's going to be
here.
protect their
Yep.
asses at all cost.
Yep.
And the thing is that you have to look at this whole thing in a sense. You look at Michael Proctor, okay? Now you look at public perception. And I'm going to ask everybody in this chat room, maybe you had much more confidence in the state police. Do you now? I mean, I have some questionable things here that's going on, because if Michael Proctor's involved in this, how many other police, Mass State Police, could be potentially involved in stuff that we saw on the stand in Karen Reed's trial? What do they say? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yep.
And if the Mass State Police is the tree, and you have a bad apple that's fallen, I'm sure there's probably a few more in there. And the crazy thing about it too, Maz, is this: I've said this before, if he's doing this and having this type of conduct and this type of behavior in Karen Reed's case, what other cases has he done this?
Yep. And
It's
that's
scary.
what Michael Morrissey and the DA's office fears the most, is that every single person that's ever been arrested by him under circumstances that are not the obvious. So basically, if he arrested someone that was absolutely out of control and it was obvious that they should be arrested for what they did, those are probably not going to be an issue. But if you take into consideration individuals that are like, hey, I was arrested under pretenses that I thought were suspicious, or I was framed or covered up, or I thought that this situation was doctored in any way, those all come back to the table now. Those are all getting put into question.
And you got to look at Brian Walsh's case
I knew
now.
you were going there. I knew you were thinking it. I'm like, he's going to say it.
You got to look at Brian Walsh's case.
Yeah.
That's scary, because
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, I'm going to tell you right now, the guy probably did it. But Michael Proctor, lead investigator for the Brian Walsh case. And what did we hear? What did he investigate? He investigated Google searches.
Yep.
He investigated Google searches in Brian Walsh's case, but not one damn thing written in the initial indictment for Karen Reed that we found this Google search.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that happens, correct?
Unbelievable. They have it right in Celebrate data. It shows that basically it was Google searched at 2:27 in the morning. Like, well, no, she didn't really Google search that at 2:27. She was looking up ozone basketball, whatever it was. And it just, for some reason, some search she did later in the morning backtraced its way back to 2:27 and magically appeared there. I don't believe that at all.
I love when Alan Jackson goes, why are you Googling basketball at 2:30? Like, who does that in the morning? Oh, you do that.
I'm a basketball guy. I'm sitting there like, everyone's like, who Googles basketball? And I'm kind of sitting there like, well, I actually do.
Yeah, but you're not Googling how long does it take someone to die in the cold. Let me get to this. A $4.99 super chat. I love this. Chloe Albert's Revenge is such a great name. She put in that weird chain of events clause, which allowed them to blame her just by taking him there, in my opinion. Interesting. And I think she's saying taking John O'Keefe to the scene. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's what they were stuck on. I don't know. And that's something that I'm going to ask Mark tomorrow and get a little bit more into that. So it is interesting. Now you have to look at it and say, Are more jurors going to come forward? Because
Yeah.
we now know 4 was in
Right.
favor for Karen Reed on that
Right.
jury. And I'm probably gonna say this too. They're not just coming out and freely speaking. I'm sure they've had some legal advice in this.
Yep.
And I think that, in my opinion, they are going about it the right way. And yes, everybody wants their story. Everybody wants to talk to them. Turtle Boy was saying, I just want one of the jurors to come out and talk to me.
Yep.
He wants a story,
Right.
and deservingly so.
Yep.
He's done a lot of work on this.
Yep.
But I'm going to say, from a legal standpoint, I think it's a little bit better that they do it this way. I'm sure they got legal counsel.
Yeah, I bet you any money, because they've been impounded and everything now, and it's just best that they go right to the defense. Just take it through the defense. Let the defense
do it the right way.
Act on it. Stay quiet from a public standpoint. Go through the defense. Let the defense have it contained, and let them do their work.
So what do you think? Where do you think this goes? Do you think on the 22nd we go back to court? Karen goes back to court, and they start continuing to push this all the way, or do I've heard some rumors out there too that she comes in on the 22nd. They have the status hearing. They keep kind of battling this out back and forth in the court, and then 6 months from now, somewhere on a Friday, this is just going to be secretly dismissed. What do you think?
So this is my take, and it might be something a lot of people may not want to hear. I will say this: a lot of times when there's been a lot of occurrences over the past year where we felt like we've had individuals basically caught red-handed and their backs up against the wall, and every single way they meander their way out of it somehow, or wiggle their way out of it somehow, and find another way to keep this thing going. My honest prediction, and you may not like it, is I honestly think that the defense is going to fight this as hard as they can. And I think Auntie Bev's going to find some way out of this any way possible that she can, and somehow create an angle to prolong this thing. And what's going to end up happening is she's just going to find out, well, no, what the jury gave is it's a mistrial, and that's it. I'm not going back on it. And this case is going to continue, and it's going to be another trial, and that's it. I think that's exactly what she's going to do. But I think from her perspective and what I've seen out of her, it seems like every time we got her basically to say, here you go, drop the charges, or this case should be dismissed, because there's some angle that keeps this going on.
Yeah.
And the same thing's happening in Turtle Boy right now.
Of course. Yeah. So did you watch any of the?
I did.
Okay. So get me kind of caught up, because I had to work today. What was kind of the conclusion or where the next steps are in his cases?
Yeah. The afternoon was much more thorough than the morning. This morning just got pushed out till later in the month, but this thing got pushed out again, the afternoon portion.
So the first one was the situation between him and his ex-girlfriend, or the girl he was seeing.
Like
Okay.
like a thing. And then this one was the more formal hearing.
Okay.
About the felonies and all that.
Right.
And everything. So they went
So
over.
get me caught up here. I'm behind.
Yeah. So they went over multiple subjects, and to me, the highlight of the whole afternoon was when Tim Bradel, basically him and Mello were kind of going back and forth to the judge. And it's like anything with Tim Bradel. Tim Bradel makes sense. Tim Bradel talks about the law. He talks about everything in context. And basically, Mello refutes it. The judge just kind of sits there, doesn't really respond to it enough, and then it just goes on and on and on. So they're pushing this thing out to August 29th. Now, one of the big points that Bradel made today was he talked about the fact that Turtle Boy is basically a journalist.
Yep.
And that basically he's been interviewing people, just like the reporter from NBC.
Yep.
Went over to Michael Proctor's house following the final day of the trial.
We saw it
after the mistrial was declared, and basically doing the same thing Turtle Boy was doing. And at the end of that, basically he made the argument, why is it a crime for Turtle Boy to do this, but it's not a crime for NBC to do that? And like he kind of said, I'm not here to try to incriminate other journalists from doing their jobs.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is, if 90 million people, I'm kind of taking, this is not a quote of him, but I'm just using it. If 90 million people do something and it's not a crime, why is it when Aidan Carney does it? Why is that a crime? And that was the point he made to the judge.
Yeah, it's good.
And he came back later and cited the NBC thing. And again, it just seems like it falls on deaf ears. It does seem like Tim Bradel is making this thing move, but it just seems like Mello and the judge don't, they don't want to end the obvious. When you have, they talked about the incident that happened. Can't remember when it happened, but it was the time that who showed up to court when Turtle Boy was in there, and he had to leave. And then basically they said he violated his RO and all that.
Yeah, that was a couple of I don't know if it was during the trial. It might have
something?
been a hearing, March
Yeah, it was
maybe.
like
Yeah.
March or something. Yeah, it was still in the cool weather months.
Right.
Yeah, where it's kind of not winter but not spring yet,
Right.
somewhere in there. And they tried to bring that up, and he's like, and Turtle Boy said time and time again, if they're so intimidated by me and they feel so threatened, then why are they getting so close to me all the time? It just doesn't make any sense with that particular individual. I'm not going to say their name, but
sure,
they continuously show up. And it happened recently again, where outside of court on a Friday afternoon, this individual and a few other individuals showed up outside of court knowing very well that Turtle Boy was going to be there. And it gets to the point where they present this in court. It's like, look, under typical circumstances, when people have ROs and they're fearing for their life from someone, they don't want to be anywhere near them. They don't show up when, and I kind of had a feeling Turtle Boy was going to pull this, and he did. A couple months back, he went on his show on a night and he said, I'm going to be at court tomorrow.
I remember that.
And I sat there and I said,
He's
bullshit.
You can swear.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah.
He ain't going to be there. I sat there and I said, but the thing was, I didn't want to write it online.
Right.
Because I didn't want it to spread.
Right.
And I knew that if he was playing this, I didn't want to expose it and say, like, I don't think Turtle Boy is really going to be there. I didn't want to be the guy to state the obvious. I'm like, just say nothing. Don't tip his hand. I go, he is not going. I can tell by the way he said it. I'm like, he's not going to be there. So the next day comes, he doesn't go.
Guess who showed up?
Yeah. Yep. And
I think I was there. I think I was there for that hearing or that court date. And I remember, who showing up. Yeah. It's like reverse psychology.
It was. Yeah. I knew that he did that. Yeah.
You caught her.
Someone goes, can't tell you where Mazza is sitting. You could be a sniper. Rogue Knox. That's
yeah.
But it's just wild stuff like that. And honestly, it's been, Turtle Boy has fought hard enough. Turtle Boy has fought hard enough to get this story out there, but there's been so many acts against him, even beyond what he's had to deal with the state police or whatever. And even what he's dealt with individuals that are alleged or believed to have been involved in the murder of John O'Keefe. There's so many personalities out there that have shown up over this, that are the people that are just basically, they're Turtle Boy enemies. I call it the Batman Rogues Gallery. It's like like Adam West, the villain of the week. It's like all of a sudden we're up against the Riddler this week. Now it's the Penguin. Now it's the Catwoman, and she's snatching pearls. It's like all these people coming out of the woodwork. You had a guy today.
What was going on down? I was going to say, what was going down there today?
So this guy turns out to be someone that Turtle Boy wrote an article about in 2020.
Oh my God!
Basically had this big fraud, apparently a fraud ring, or he bamboozled money out of people's pockets, or did something to take advantage of a situation where I believe a cop died. And this guy's down there today, like he's getting into it. And of course, Erica, who we all love, Erica's, she's awesome. She's a protector of everyone. She stands tall. And of course, she's just taking nothing from this guy. And it was awesome. So I had to give Erica a shout out because I just love Erica.
What was he saying? Was he like harassing people?
He was insulting Turtle Boy. So he first showed up in the morning walking into court, and he just basically flips off Tom. And Tom's like,
dude, who are you?
Tom's like being nice to him. Good morning, my friend, or something. He says back. So the guy walks in the court, then he walks out, and at the way out of court, he flips off Tom again. Then he heads out down. He walks through the crowd, and he's looking for trouble, obviously. And then finally, he gets into it, and he starts in on Erica. Starts on a few other people. A girl held a sign in front of him to kind of block him, and basically, he starts mouthing off. Eventually, he starts to walk away. The state police get involved, and they say, "You got to get out of here." After that, the reporter, Commit, whatever her name is, something Commit, Penny Commit from WBZ, decides to interview her, and he's like, bleep the media, bleep you, bleep this, and just walks on. So this guy was just, not only was he going after Turtle Boy's supporters, he was going after WBZ, for goodness sakes, just for asking questions like, sir, what is your angle here? What do you have to say? And he's just like, bleep the media, bleep this, bleep that. I'm like, man, this guy's intense. Then Turtle Boy's like, I know who he is. Here's an article from 2020. Gosh. Here's some screenshots. And all of a sudden you find out this whole backstory. And it's like, oh, I get it now. Another Turtle Boy villain of the week. This time it's Clayface. If you get that right. Look, Batman the Animated Series, Clayface. Look that up.
Let me see. I think you tweeted it out. Jody says the food stamp 5's pimp. Let me see if I can find. You did tweet it today.
I did.
Let me see if I can find it on your Twitter. We'll play it.
Sure, right around.
Let me see. Let me see what I got. I'll pull it up on the big screen. We can watch it together. I think I got it. Let's see. Oh, there was a lot of. Oh, look at this. We have KP flipping people off.
Oh,
We got that.
Yeah.
And let me see. You showed me your blocked, which was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that out by accident. Someone tagged
Oh wait,
him.
I think I got it here. Unhinged Man. Is it that one?
That's it.
All right, let me
There's
pull this up on the big
2
screen.
or 3 of them. Yeah.
We'll watch it together. Let me pull this up for everybody. Hang on.
This is how I spend my lunchtime. This is how I spend my lunchtime uploading videos.
All right, let's see if we can get
Why your dog say something? Why your dog say something? Because you saw everybody else.
It's
that
this
you walked
guy
by
with-
and you saw 2 women who have
Right
a
there,
policy
the-
that had nothing to
yeah,
do
white,
with
which,
it. I have the phone. I have the phone. With turtle ass. Turtle ass.
That's
I
hilarious.
have a big phone. You just like gaslight. Oh, that's what they see there. Women. Oh, darling little girls, do ya? Nice girls, do ya?
Just you, buddy. Just you. Just you, bud. Hey, are you going to the gym? Or are you in shape? Are you in shape?
Who's the guy whipping a butt?
Rated to woman. You just got
Let's
called
see.
out. That's disgusting. Talk to a man. Talk to a man that size on. I really don't.
Get out of here, tough guy. Go pick up some guys.
I really don't give a shit. Don't pick on one.
Did you hear about the they ran into Lally on the afternoon? So Lally was walking into court before this afternoon hearing.
Oh God.
And Tommy says to him, he goes, "Hey Lally, how you doing?" And then this guy just starts taunting Lally. Apparently he got a $40 fine or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For
Apparently.
taunting him?
Yeah, for taunting, I guess. I think I got the
Oh, it's Tim Bradle. Let's watch
Yeah.
this. Let's pull the Bradle. Yeah, we'll see what Bradle had to say. This was after court, I presume, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This looks like the morning session.
Morning.
Attorney, can you talk to us a little bit about the discovery
just
that was
Machado.
given to you today?
Yeah.
I literally haven't looked at it. They
Good to see him.
plunk
again.
down a folder
Yeah.
on the table. I'll take it back to the office and look at it. I don't know what it is yet.
Any word on whether Attorney Mello is going to be participating in this case going forward?
I don't know. I don't believe he's going to be here today. I'll leave that to the Commonwealth. Haven't seen him in a while.
Attorney Bradle, what do you
That is
think
really
the timetable is for
Yeah.
this? This is now being continued again until August. This is something that's been going on since Aiden was first charged back in
Right,
December of last year. What's your timetable?
Yeah, it's a hardship to have to keep this thing alive, and we just want to get our discovery and move on with the case. It looks like maybe a fall winter trial date is in the making here, and I'm eager to get in there and get this behind Mr. Carney.
You had a previous motion to dismiss that was not approved. Any thoughts about doing that this time? I mean, despite them giving you some limited discovery, was that an option for today?
Not in district court. We're going to revisit those issues across the street in Superior Court, and we have a whole host of motions.
Who was in
still on
district
the
and
table,
Superior Court today?
that
Unreal.
Not been resolved yet, and the judges wanted to resolve them. I want to resolve them, and I think the Commonwealth has been, for various reasons, dragging their feet on them because I don't think they're particularly favorable to them.
Did you file any new motions recently in the case
Nothing-
across the street yet?
Nothing yet. We're working on a motion to dismiss and a motion to suppress.
While we have you, what are your thoughts on the result of the Karen Reed trial?
It's an injustice. The result of the Karen Reed trials, they voted 12-0 to acquit. And I hope that this gets cleared up so Karen Reed can have her charges dropped against her and we can focus on making sure that these charges are dropped against me next.
I hope that jury's brought back into court to render the verdict that apparently they had that wasn't so that Ms. Reed can be released from those other charges. I'm surprised
Interesting
they
to hear
haven't done that
Bradle
yet.
actually talk about this for
Yeah.
the first
If you
time.
ask me, I think that's the move to effectuate her rights is to reconstitute the jury with these verdicts that were never delivered.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Interesting hearing him comment on it
Yeah.
because I haven't heard him comment
I
on.
heard him do it once
Yeah.
months ago. It was a blink and you miss it moment, though, but he did. He brought it up before it was, I can't remember. I think it might have been when Aiden, after he was placed in jail, he had kind of gone off about it a bit. But I like how they're kind of pairing this with the Karen Reed case right now. And it's the same thing here. They're continuously carrying Aiden to court over and over and over again. Tim Bradle, just like Alan Jackson and Eddie and Eliza Little, He's making a case why it should be dismissed, and on and on and on it goes. And it just, they don't want to drop this stuff.
Yeah, let's bring this one up. This is from Shock and Horror. Sarah, thank you so much. Said Aiden called them the food stamp 5 to the local media. That I did hear about that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's pull this one up. And here, this was after his first court appearance today.
And Mr. Carney did nothing but make every effort to comply with the order and get out of there when she showed up. And, you know, she tried to flush him out of there like a quail. And he got out of there in compliance with the order.
Correct. It's on
And
camera.
she then appeared outside in front of the courthouse. So we need to see all the video and all the evidence to that effect.
Aiden, any sort of comment? You get this, and then you have your other hearing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a distraction. What's happening in this courtroom right now?
Hmm.
I came after being falsely accused of a crime that I was charged with that were dropped the day that I got out, the day that my bail was revoked, the day I got out of jail. They dropped the charges because they knew it was all a lie. The whole purpose was to put me in jail. I came back 3 days later for a Karen Reed hearing, as I always do. For the first time, this individual showed up at a Karen Reed hearing, had never come to one before in the past.
Correct.
During my incarceration, she had apparently palled up with the McAlberts, and she showed up to court with Jennifer McCabe, who had a huge smile on her face, and forced me to leave the courtroom. I complied with it. I asked the officer where to go. He sent me across the street to the Registry of Deeds, where I remained. At no point did we interact. At no point did I even see her afterwards. She didn't even call the police till 5 hours later. She called the police at 2:30 to report that her car was vandalized and didn't tell Officer Kozak that anything about a restraining order violation. Now they've entered in some screenshots of me standing in the grassy knoll over at the Registry of Deeds with no context.
I remember that.
No
Yeah.
video. We don't know where she is. We don't know who took these videos, and it's all just a lie, and it's a distraction from the real important case, which is across the street where the First Amendment is on trial in Norfolk.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep. I like the grassy knoll comment.
The grassy knoll
classic.
comment was
Yeah,
good.
That was good.
That was really, really good.
Yeah.
Let me see. We got any more here?
Oh, this is it right here. Yeah.
What's this one
This
here?
is the one where the guy flips off Tommy.
Oh, I gotta see this.
Yeah.
All right, let's pull this up for everybody. I did not get to see any of this today because I was at work, so this will be fun too. Oh gosh, it nothing surprises me anymore in any of this. What do we?
Da-da, oh my goodness. Thanks for the material on tonight's show, buddy.
This guy, unbelievable.
I like everyone just ignoring him too. Good on everybody. They're just like, yeah, he's over there. Watch the way he turns around here and looks at everybody. He's waiting. Oh, sorry, it's not that. He turns around, looks at everybody like, come on, someone mess with me. Let's go. Yeah.
Oh, it's too good.
Tommy handles this very well.
Tom's good. Let me see what else I got here. Let's see. That was from this.
Oh, here we go. This is a good one. This is the one from WBZ this afternoon.
Let me pull this
was
up.
the news at noon.
All right, let's pull these up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Caveman $2 says he looks like Mr. Potato Head. Thank you so much. I just want to do this and make sure that I get this clear with everybody tonight. Normally I do 25% of the donations to Karen Reed. I'm not going to do that tonight on this stream, but I will do something upcoming. I feel right now, and I know this is bothering me and everybody's just go with it. I feel like I'm kind of cheating everybody right now because I am having a problem with the Wi-Fi in here, but I will upload this tomorrow and it should be crystal clear. Obviously I'm having an issue in here and I have to get that banged out and figure out. So tonight we'll just put a pause on that, and some upcoming streams, we will get that done and make sure we start contributing back to Karen's defense team. So if you're coming into the chat and seeming like you're having internet issues, it's not you. It's what's going on here in the room. And we'll get it ironed out soon. All right, let's hear this, Maz.
Shots of a video, so by definition, there's a lot more to be looked at, and we're eager to get that. And the Commonwealth has agreed to, try to get that together for us.
At no point did we interact. At no point did I even see her afterwards. She didn't even call the police till 5 hours later. Carney slew of
shots of a video, so
little
by
loop,
definition,
little loopy.
Yeah, I cut that real
What do we
quick.
got here?
Yeah.
Oh God, this guy again.
This is the news
Oh
report.
no, they're
Yeah.
talking to him.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back. They're talking to this guy.
He's
now.
getting in Erica's face here.
Oh
now.
my
The state
God.
police are already making their way.
Oh
over,
wow.
too. Yeah.
Wow, look at this.
And at one point, someone showed up from the other side. for me, but wouldn't share their thoughts with us. Is there anything you would like to say about why you came out here?
No,
Do you want to spread your message?
Damn.
Okay. And at one point, someone showed
This
up
guy's
on the
clapping,
other
huh? I'll tell you, nothing surprises me in any of. Oh, that's Mark.
Bro.
Mark
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm promoting your stuff.
Look at this guy.
That's
here.
the first photo I posted.
Oh,
yeah, right
gosh.
there. That's when he walked in. He just flips off Tom.
Did we hear? We heard this one right
Yeah,
now.
it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah, different cut. Yeah. And this was the article right there.
Oh yeah, right here. Nonprofit criticized for using Mike Chesna's to raise. What was this? President of Pro Police nonprofit criticized for using Mike Chesna's name to raise money, paying for votes to win free motorcycle, lack of financial transparency. And that's the guy right there that showed up today, right?
Yeah, December 7th, 2020, that article
Jeez.
was written. So yeah, from the
And you got a badge of honor today.
Oh,
tell
yeah.
everybody about your look at that camera and tell everybody about your badge of honor today.
All right. So
You got a badge of honor today.
So I was posting the videos about Yuri and how he was at the they saw him yesterday during the Morrissey protest driving out. So there was some videos of that. So I posted those videos and someone tagged them. And I just happened to be reading through the comments. And I
Pull
said,
this up. Go and keep talking.
I think I've only visited his profile. Brian's listening.
He got blocked. You have a dude. You have a badge of honor now.
Yeah, I know. It's
That's
crazy.
good. And if you get the coffin daffer badge of honor,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate.
my
That's
goodness.
the.
I got the Wendy Murphy one. I got
You
that
did
one.
get that.
I got that one
I
a
still
long
haven't
time
gotten the
ago.
coffin daffer one yet,
Yeah,
and I
me
tweeted
neither.
her all the time.
Yeah.
And I keep asking her the same question. The question that I keep asking her all the time. Seriously, Maz, I ask her. I say, listen, your peeps.
Yeah.
Your peeps independently hired the ARCA guys to come in
That's right.
and do an assessment of this situation.
Yep.
And I asked him, I was like, can you please just tell me, are you denying the science? Like, these are your people
Yeah.
that hired, not the Commonwealth, not the defense. You independently, the FBI stepped in and hired from your people, hired these people to come in
Yep.
and assess the situation.
Yep.
And they say, and we know what they said. John O'Keefe did not make contact with Karen Reed's SUV.
Yep.
Karen Reed's
Yep.
SUV did not make contact with John O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Can you please answer this for me? She will not answer
Won't
it.
do
She
it.
won't answer the question.
Won't do it.
Won't answer the
Won't
question.
do it. She was apparently a fed for a cup of coffee and maybe even delivered. I don't know what her job was there, but I heard it wasn't all that extravagant. But yeah, someone tagged him in this, and I said, I haven't visited his profile in like a few months. I go, let me click on his profile. So I click on his profile. I'm like, wait a minute, I've been blocked by this man. Here I am and wondering, I'm like, do the state police know who I am? Are they going to knock on my door? All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, Yuri does know who I am, apparently. And then I tell a few other people, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I realized either I got blocked by him a long time ago or I got blocked from him recently. And all of a sudden, everyone's like checking too online. I got a kick that. I made Barstool Sports again today. That was
You made
yeah.
Barstool.
Yep. Both my videos I posted from Tuesday night's
No shit.
charade in Canton, where basically a cop
Look at this. Good
grabbed,
for you.
grabbed Jen. And that's just
I have it. Have you seen the video? I have it.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
I have
yeah.
the video behind the scenes that no one
Yeah,
saw.
it's
Let me
crazy.
let me play that
Sure.
actually for everybody because no one's probably seen that.
Some
so.
people have been messaging me saying, "Oh, they were right to grab." I'm like, they're not right to grab her. I go, it's a select.
No,
board
they
meeting.
can't put.
It's
your
not.
hands on
It's not a
someone.
bar room or something.
Right.
It's not someone that's on alcohol, that's agitated or on drugs and going crazy, and you have no choice but to grab them by the arm. This is a woman who is
Expressing
standing up for her rights,
free speech. Yeah.
and they're grabbing her by her shirt. Oh,
Yeah.
she's grabbing her by her shirt. Not that it's the same difference. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's play this. This is what happened behind the scenes at the Canton Select Board meeting. If you didn't see it the other
Were you
day,
there? Was this your footage?
I did not go.
Oh, okay.
Someone sent me this footage though.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually ended up streaming it, and I took a call actually from Rita afterwards.
I heard that,
Rita
actually,
called
yeah.
in. Yeah. Let's play
Yeah,
this.
watch
Jen
that
O'Donnell.
Who ran over here while I was speaking out of turn. She just sat there screaming at the crowd, and the crowd screaming back at her, and you stayed here.
Double
No,
standard
I'm
all the
not.
time.
Yeah.
It is inappropriate. No, it's inappropriate. Uphold the law the way it's intended to be upheld.
You'll continue.
Good. I'm upset because I feel unjustly. No, you're standing in front of me while everyone else does the same thing. Do you not see that?
You're disruptive to the meeting. You're disruptive to the meeting. It's time for you to go.
I'm right though. I may be disruptive to you, but I'm right. And I'm fucking trying to do something. Fucking Americans, people. Remember it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane. It's just the way they get treated is insane all the time. I was there 2 weeks ago. I actually pondered going back, and I said it's tough for me to go out an hour than an hour back.
Yeah.
You know, when the meeting's only about 45 minutes, it's like, do I want to make it out for this? I can watch it at home. But I was out there 2 weeks ago when I was out in Dedham for the day and decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm out here. I've never been to Canton before. Let me do a little bit of touring around the town to see some locations, which I did. And I go, I'm going to pop in and sit in at the select board meeting. And a couple people knew exactly who I was as soon as I walked in the door, and I was laughing. Everyone's like, Mazza, you're here. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. And I'm checking out the meeting. And the past two meetings have been probably two of the most notable ones in terms of just, back and forth between the select board.
Yeah, it's been.
But they're frustrated. They're doing everything they can. These people like Jen and Rita and Sean and many others, Kathleen, who are trying to earnestly work with their select board. And they've tried to do it by multiple means. And every single time they're just getting nothing out of these people. They don't care. They're playing politics. There's obviously a group of individuals that are in a certain circle in that town that are privileged and have certain powers and all that over the town. And they want a level of just basically, their rights. They want to be able to have a ability to kind of sit at the table and negotiate certain things. And they're basically, they
don't want to hear anybody else.
Yeah, they do that to them all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, they don't want to hear anybody else. Chrissy, thank you for the $5. I want to know what the jurors in favor of guilty verdict think now that they know about the FBI investigation. Has a fifth juror rumored to have been confirmed? I haven't heard anything about a fifth juror coming forward. I know there's a lot of rumors coming out, and that's the thing about these things is it starts to spawn a lot of other conversations coming off. I would just say this. Just wait to hear what the Reed team puts out there. And by the way, Kelly Reed is in the chat. I want to acknowledge that. Hi, Kelly. How are you? Thanks for popping in and watching. She said, I want to know what the jurors in favor of guilty think about now that they know about the FBI investigation. I don't know. I mean, they had the opportunity there. I mean, for me, you had the opportunity there. I mean, they heard the FBI get brought up during the trial when Nagel slipped, essentially.
Right.
And I don't know why it wasn't talked about more.
Right.
But then we heard it more at the end when the defense put their case out there and they brought ARCA in and said, basically, we didn't hire them and the Commonwealth didn't hire them. It's an independent investigation. So, I mean, they knew. I have a really hard time with science, denying science. In physics. I mean, we live on this planet because of physics.
That's correct.
I just don't understand how anybody could look past that and say, that I don't believe that.
Yeah. I just don't buy a vehicle driving in reverse, shattering on a man's arm and his head being sliced by grass and magically having bruises on his eyes. And, I just don't buy any of that. And missing a shoe because of that.
Yeah. And a pirouette.
I don't buy it.
I mean, the Jackson pirouette thing was great.
Oh, it's crazy. It was like
so good.
Oh yeah.
I wish I was there that day to see that. When I was in the day I went in was Yuri. I think it might have been day one. It could have been day two. He was on the stand for 2 days, right?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been
like
day
an
two.
Afternoon, morning.
What day were you in? Who did you sit with?
I was on the 13th. I was in there when Tully was on his final final day at Tully, and then the rest of it was just a bunch of in and out people all day long. It was just a couple, 4 or 5 people probably on the stand that day, but it was just people that were in and out.
All the people they pulled in from the bar, right?
Yeah, pretty much. The defense wasn't even cross-examined. Like, we have no questions.
It's a waste of time.
Forget it. Yeah,
it's a waste
Tully
of time.
was there for the morning, and the morning was more eventful that day.
So my 5 ladies, $5 said, "Did you hear the old dude say, I don't want a pawn shop in Canton. Buddy, it isn't your town, hence the problem." Oh yeah, at the select board meeting. I do remember hearing that. Yeah, it's not your town. It's the people's town. And that's the thing is that, these corrupt people that are on that board think it's their their town. Right. We're going to run it. We don't want to listen to anybody. And just like, Rita Lombardi that goes in, week after, every 2 weeks they have their meeting. Yeah. But she goes in and she said, listen, we just want people to listen to us. That's it. Like no one's listening. They just want to shut us down. They only want to give us 15 minutes. They're going to throttle us. They want us to sit down and go away. And, you know, it's just it's crazy. Their format before, I think, used to be a lot longer. Now they've only cut it down to about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's calmed down. I think it was the full hour 2 weeks ago, but it seems like a lot of them are a little bit shorter. That town's like the town of Tombstone, Arizona, right now.
It's crazy.
Some of the Clantons and the McLowrys, they call them the McClantons, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was all these people that were all friends that were running all over the place, doing what they wanted to do, and they had Johnny Ringo with them. And eventually, people had to stand up to them and stop them. You know, like the White Earp brothers and Doc Holliday. So that's you know, sometimes that's what happens. You know, is that people try to empower themselves over everybody else, and eventually, you know, it's like Rita talks about it. It's evil prevails when good people do nothing. You know, you just got to make a stand and stand up, and that's why I'm always backing up everybody. Like we're backing up everybody, and
yeah,
we're all
of course,
backing up each other. So
power in numbers. That's what you always want. Jessica, $4.99. Thank you so much. Says Sean McDonough said on Howie Carr, the jury never figured out the other agency was the feds. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Mark about that tomorrow. I want to get a little bit more clarity on that. It's a great point that you brought up. Hey, it's Chaos Coordinator, $5. I'm getting caught up. Where do we stand currently? Waiting on Bev to respond. And thank you guys for what you do. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just kind of in limbo right now. I know that the last motion that she put out was to hide the jurors' names for 10 days.
Impounding them for 10
Impound the
days,
names.
which is 4 days shy of when the next hearing is. I asked Mark Betterow about that, but he said it's not too big of an issue.
I found this was interesting too, that we found out about Kevin Albert during the Canton Select Board meeting.
Right.
And isn't it ironic that he was put on leave, I believe, back on June 12th?
Yeah.
Right. So what was going on during that time? The Karen Reed trial. So they essentially buried it. They didn't want it to come out. They didn't want to make a bigger deal, because if that information probably was out there, ooh,
The defense uses that.
Hell yeah, they would have used that.
I mean, basically, he's on a paid vacation. I mean, it couldn't have been. There's no better situation to be paid to not work. I mean, that's about as good of a situation as you can be in. So that's why a lot of people are objecting to him being paid. It's like, oh, come on, it's oh my goodness.
Lou Boston, $10. Thanks. To check out the Sutton PD page hiring officers. It's off the hook. I did see that the Facebook pages were the Facebook comments, and a lot of people were chiming in on that. It was kind of crazy. We have Karen up in Canada. Thank you so much for the $5. Canadian. Says Brian, Canadians, Canada's prime minister denies science all the time. Your Canadian adoptive mom. Laugh out loud. The only time that I ever denied any science on anything was the whole COVID-19 pandemic thing. That was about the only time I really denied science, because it was a bunch of bullshit.
Right.
All a bunch of bullshit. So it's all a bunch of bullshit. Olivia in the chat says, what's even worse, in my opinion, is that the jury apparently thought the federal investigation was an investigation funded and done by the defense. Good point, Olivia. Yes. Great point.
Yep.
And maybe that's what they thought, that even when that was explained, they even probably still might have thought that the defense hired these ARCA guys and they were affiliated with the FBI. This is really interesting. Let me see if I have another chat here. Scott says Canton Select Boards is already notorious for delaying announcements. They delayed announcing Chief Crafferty's pedestrian hit for 6 weeks after the town elections.
That's
no,
right.
you're right.
That's right.
Absolutely. So what do you think about Sandra Birchmore now getting some more press? We know now that the family hired Dr. Michael Bodden. Bodden. I think I said his name incorrectly. But if anybody doesn't know who that is, if you ever in the 90s used to watch HBO, there used to be a show on there, and I think it ran through the 2000s. It was called Autopsy. And he's one of the best, if not the best, medical examiners in the United States, at least, probably in the world. And Sandra's family went out and hired him to do an independent investigation and give his ruling, and he came back and said that she did not die by suicide. She died by murder. And the last time we really heard anything about this case before this was in March, when we heard about a federal investigation into this. So this will be interesting now, and I think they're having a hearing tomorrow.
I'm not sure about the date, but this is what's happening here. And this is like, I've seen a lot of people that have been Karen Reed supporters that are also Sandra Birchmore, and everyone was talking about, we need to talk about this more. And I think that's kind of what we're getting going here, is that we're shedding light or shining light on other controversies and stories that need the light shined on them. And it just goes to show you that a lot of times it's the people that are the most powerful here. It's people like ourselves that are talking about freeing Karen Reed, talking about justice for Sandra Birchmore, and maybe even other issues that may even haven't happened yet, or maybe some stories that have been under talked about, and that we as people talk about it and push for that. And perhaps maybe even there's been some inspiration in that family from what they've seen out of the Karen Reed. Basically, a lot of people, I saw people outside the court that were walking around with signs that were talking about other people that had been controversially killed by police or other situations. And what it's doing is it's inspiring them to go out and say, hey, let's talk about this one. Why don't you guys look into this a little bit more deeply and talk about this too? And then at some point realizing maybe the more public, the more you bring it to the public a little bit more, the more people talk about it, and the more people want to investigate it and look into that. And with Karen and her family, all the support they've gotten from us has been powerful, from all the money that's been raised for her attorney fees and everything. If that's not there, this is a much more difficult situation for her than this is. And it just goes to show you that, like Sandra Birchmore's family is probably sitting there saying, let's hire an investigator. We've seen some things, maybe I can't speak for them,
of course,
but maybe they take some inspiration and say, hey, some investigators looking into the Karen Reed thing. What if we did that? I'm not sure if that's how they came through on that, but it's potentially that can inspire, other people within cases to say, hey, let's look into this a little bit more deeply too. Let's see if we can get someone with some experience to look into this thing and say, it was a murder. It wasn't a suicide.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, a family deserves answers. A family deserves answers. And, when you're seeing when you're seeing Farwell walk in and it's essentially the last person to walk into that apartment. And then 2 days later, Sandra Birchmore is dead.
Right.
And they say that she committed suicide. Seriously, almost immediately after he left. That's when they're saying the time of death was.
Right.
That doesn't jive with me. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
And there has to be a deeper investigation.
Yeah.
And then you find out through this Explorers program, not only him, but his brother and another superior officer, and the name has slipped me off the top of my head, and I'm sorry right now.
Yep.
He's involved in grooming and having inappropriate relationships with Sandra. Yeah, you need to look into that a little bit deeper here.
Quite a bit.
A
And
little bit deeper.
It makes me sick that these stories have been swept under the rug by police agencies that might have information on this, and that it takes actions from the people and the families to basically get some kind of light on this particular situation.
Yeah. Let me just get this out. Free Karen Reed 2024, $10 says the length of the trial and lollygagging. What, if any, boring, pointless witness testimony? I think they lost the jury at times and they gazed over there for missing important testimony, maybe the Commonwealth's plan. Well, but you have to kind of look at it in the sense too, and I'm not defending the Commonwealth at all. Somewhere in the line, they connected with some of these jurors on something, which I don't understand. I don't get it. And I think that's the big mystery and miracle here, where everybody's going, well, was the jury tainted? How could they have come to this conclusion? We don't know right now. Maybe some more information comes through these jurors that have spoken up. And they're, in my opinion, like I said, they're doing it the right way. They're doing it. They're working with the defense. They're going through the legal motions. Again, they probably have some attorney, some guidance here from attorneys, but we don't know. Maybe more jurors step forth and some more information comes out.
That would be good if that happened, because right now it's you have 4 of them at least that have come out and said, hey, this thing is, we gave a different verdict than what was being reported. This thing shouldn't have ended in a mistrial, and if it did, it should have only been on 1 count. And that was amazing. And I'm not shocked this happened, because the way this whole thing's gone,
I'm not either.
It's been one outrageous.
There's nothing more that you could say that's not going to happen.
Right. The way this whole thing's gone, this is so like how you'd come to expect this whole thing. Oh, it's a mistrial, and all 3 counts are a hung jury. It's like, no, two of them are definitively not guilty.
Right.
And one of them's a hung jury. And then she gets up there and says, oh, I'm just going to declare a mistrial. I'm like, I started to get bad vibes around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. That was outside of court. We were outside of court that day.
Yep.
And I remember actually I said to you, I go, this thing goes past 2:30.
Forget it.
Remember I said that specifically? Then they were walking in the door at 2:26. I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. I almost called the time, but it was around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I started to get these bad vibes. It was when the jury came in. We're still deadlocked. Tui Rodriguez was read. And I'm like, I'm getting a real bad vibe now, because now I'm starting to think that something's going on here. And it could have just been from the jurors that were selected as the 12 and the ones that were selected as alternates or dismissed, because apparently 3 of them were individuals who had free Karen Reed values, or so it seemed, or believe that Karen Reed was not guilty, I
Right.
should say. And then all of a sudden, those three were not on the final jury for this whole
Interesting.
thing, and now other people were, and it's like, oh my goodness. And there's been questions about some other people, and it's just been, but it lends its way when you start to see things happen like this. That's when your mind starts to lend way to conspiracy theories.
Sure.
And I was not
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that throughout this whole trial, but at about 11 o'clock in the morning, my mind started to get those bad vibes. Like I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
Something's
here.
weird here.
It
Yeah.
should be a definitive not guilty.
Yeah, something's weird here. DH, thank you so much for the $27.99 Canadian. Says we can't do much from here about the justice system, but but we Canadians can support your cause, and we do. It's funny, a lot of people from Canada have really chimed into this case.
Yeah.
I've noticed like my crowd has gotten really big with a lot of the Canadians come in, and I guess they were saying that a lot of this true crime does not kind of filter through their lenses like it does here in the United States.
Yeah.
Like we're probably one of the craziest country about true crime. We're just fanatics about it. I guess they don't get that much news up there, and that's
Right.
why they reach out and watch these
Right.
streams.
It's
So
incredible.
it's
That's
interesting. It'd be great. I'd love to hear from some more Canadians. Like just email me or something. Tell me your story about how you
Right.
heard about Karen Reed. I'd love to do that. I'll drop my email here in the chat. If someone wants to reach out, let us know how you heard about this, because I'm curious to see how they heard about this north of the border.
You get a lot of folks from Canada here.
A
Either
lot
that or
of
people are
Canadians
dropping
here.
Canadian
A
flags.
lot of Canadians. Yeah. The last juror said they thought defense hired Archer. Blows my mind that they didn't know who the other agency was. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Super, super great point. Let's see. Odds Higgins gets suspended. Well, I think he currently is. He's on a desk duty job, from what I know.
Yeah, desk duty. Rubber gun squad.
Yeah.
Or wooden gun and the other guys.
My five ladies, thanks for the 10. Says, in my opinion, this trial and all of its I'm gonna not get that word. What is this? Ancillary
Yep.
tentacles. Oh, I got you now. As has become about the people standing up and challenging multiple long-standing toxic cultures, institutions that have been exposed through the process. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy because I mean, the way that you have to look at it is this is not only happening here in Massachusetts. This is happening all around the country.
That's right.
You know, we hear these cases all the time, that we need to hear more about these cases of people that you know, are wrongly convicted. You know, hopefully this can start changing the system in some way.
It's all across the country. I was watching my cousin Vinny, and I said, you know, boy, they were going to put Ralph Macchio in jail because they didn't have security cameras in the area, because that was non-existent back then, which makes you think, even before cameras were all over the place, how many people were falsely in prison in the past was a thought I had earlier today. The Fast and the Curious.
Well, here you go right here.
At what point did you shoot the clerk?
I shot the clerk.
Yes, when did you shoot him?
I shot the clerk.
The Karate Kid.
Yeah. I shot the clerk. The Fast and the Curious. Thank you for the $10. Says nothing is going to change in Dedham until they revamp the whole system in their town, starting from the top down. This is multi-generational, good old boy system goes to a town. You know, the thing that's really crazy about this, and I always bring this point up, Maz, you think about Massachusetts and you think about the history and you think about the political history here in Massachusetts, okay? What started here? The Revolutionary War, okay? What started the Revolutionary War? 251 years ago, some wise old boys said, we don't want to take British rule anymore. This is bullshit. We don't want to deal with it. They started the Boston Tea Party and they fought back against British rule.
They took them
That
out.
is fighting back against corruption.
That's right.
But what is the biggest thing that is taken over here in the state of Massachusetts? Corruption.
That's it.
It's
You
crazy.
got it.
It's
got
so
it. That's
crazy.
it.
It's the
crazy.
craziest thing. I
No,
mean,
it's just nuts.
you can't write write the story.
Yeah.
It's going to become a movie. I'm telling you.
It's going to. That's for sure. That's for sure. And the difference between that and this is that those were outsiders. This is more from within. So we're fighting against our own system that's corrupt from within, with people in power that have got positions of power.
Yeah.
That, you know, there's a certain member of the select board a lot of people aren't a fan of in Canton, you know, that's in that position of power, that has a brother that's on the police department. Well, maybe not right now, but you know, and they all have connections, and they have connections with state police officers who have connections with other people that probably are connected to the DA. And a lot of people earlier were saying, oh yeah, everyone got together and framed John O'Keefe's death. I'm like, no, it's what happened, and then a bunch of people a person has a connection or has a connection or has a connection or has a connection, and it just keeps going up the ladder on a one-to-one basis. And that's exactly what happened here. That's exactly how I say it.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Yeah. Now a lot of these cops are getting suspended or reassigned or potentially fired. That's exactly what's happening to them. They're all, one of them's blocked me and many other people.
I'm going to tell you right now, and mark my words on this. I have a weird feeling, and people might not like what I'm going to say here. I have a weird feeling that Michael Proctor will get buried away somewhere. They're going to probably transfer him out to somewhere.
Alaska.
You're not going to hear about it, and he's going to be able to continue to go on and sit at a desk and collect his pension. It's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad, but I have a weird feeling. It wouldn't surprise me, Maz.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Because maybe they might think that maybe he can countersue them and say, well, I never did this, and fight that. And then they don't want to say, well, you didn't do that, because if they say that he didn't do it, well, then there's controversy there. So now you're saying, okay, he didn't. I'm reversing this.
Yep.
If he says I didn't do it, and they say he did it, it's just because that's why they're using the whole text message thing about Karen as their excuse right now. That's the whole thing. Me and Nagler were reading it online with the union released.
Okay.
They're using the text messages as the excuse. Well, Michael Proctor's being reassigned because of the text messages, not because
not his conduct, not the investigation. Right.
Follow this hand
right.
instead.
Right.
It's they're doing magic tricks.
Of course.
They're trying to use the text messages
because the reason they're doing that, Maz, is that if you are questioning the investigative tactics that Michael Proctor used, guess what? The whole Massachusetts State Police falls.
That's it.
It falls.
That's it.
Yep.
That's what they're trying to protect. So we might not get our whole, Michael Proctor is fired. It might just be like you said, he's reassigned. That Alaska thing was a Stripes joke, by the way. John Larroquette gets reassigned to Stripes.
Right. And it's also another joke. If you've ever seen Scarface, he said, my lawyer is so good. He says, my lawyer is so good. He's by this time tomorrow, you're going to be working in Alaska, so dress warm.
I remember
that the Rico when they tried nailing him on the Rico with the camera and the camera in the clock.
Classic scene.
Dress warm. So good. The Fast and the Curious $5 said they turned into people that they were fighting against and created the same scenario in that town again. Yeah. I mean, but I'm telling you, Proctor, they're going to end up burying it. I think they're going to end up burying it.
That's what they're going to do, because they can't necessarily get him out there, because there's going to be more questions raised, because he's going to say, well, you fired me over text messages that I wrote. You can't fire me because of that. Really, behind the scenes, they're firing him because of this. So they're making a little side deal behind the scenes, probably, where it's just like, we're reassigning you. You're going to be irrelevant. You'll get your money, whatever, but we can't let this thing see the light of day, because if we do, they're going to have a lot to answer for.
Yep. Sarah, thank you so much for gifting the 10 memberships. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, let's see what people are saying here.
Somebody disagreed with
Nope. He says, nope, they're going to get Proctor. I disagree. I don't know. I mean, again, it goes back to questioning. And like Maz was just saying, let's focus on the text messages and not the investigation, because if you focus on the investigation, now you have to go back and look at every single case that he was involved with, that Tully was connected to what Bukkake was connected to. And I said this before. The culture that was among those scumbags is not the first time that they've done this. They've done this before. I can almost guarantee you. The way that they've spoke about Karen, they've talked about other people in cases the same way. And let's say there's probably worse things they said. Maybe there could be racial implications that they've said about people. I don't know. I don't know. Allegedly, could have happened. I don't know. But we don't know. We don't know how they're completely talking to people.
Olivia disagreed with this too. She goes, "I think he's going to be fired." I mean,
you think you're going to get him?
He could be fired, but it depends.
Could be.
They're going to have to do it very, very specific way, because you could just turn around and say, I could turn around and sue you guys if you want to fire me over text messages that I wrote. And they're going to, because they all both know the same reason. But at the same time, the state police are doing them a favor by saying, if you had done what you did with taillight and all that stuff, then they could just out him for that, but they can't do it because this thing went too high. They tried to get away with something, and now they're trying to sweep it all under the rug now, because they got to very delicately handle everything because they overplayed their hand. They really got carried away with the fact that they thought they could pull this off. But a woman named Karen Reed had other plans.
Yeah, she did have other plans. Hostage takes Curtis $5 says, are we going to get to the point where Morsi comes out and admits fault. I'm just gonna laugh right there.
Yeah.
He says seems letting others take the fault. He's not gonna admit fault. I mean, no one's gonna admit fault to this at all. No, I mean, you're even seeing it again, just what we were talking about.
Right.
Don't look at the investigation. Check out the text messages. And the thing is, wait till the civil suits come, because when the civil suits come, you actually have more access to information. You'll be able to get more information.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why
Oh,
I
yeah.
always laugh when Turtle Boy goes, they go, are you going to change your stance on Jen McCabe? He goes, no, please sue me. Please sue me. Please sue me. Because he knows he's going to get more access to her
Right, the
information.
discovery.
Yeah,
Yep.
discovery.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Goldie,
Absolutely.
$2 says, what is Duckygate asking for a badgered witness? Duckygate. What is this Duckygate? Everybody's talking about ducks now. I guess there was ducks that people were talking about today. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm
No.
sorry.
I'll have to
I
look
wish I
into
could
that.
answer your
Yeah.
$2, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know, Maz. What else? What else do we got? So we have Birchmore. We've talked about
Yep.
Karen.
Right.
Obviously our hearing's coming up on the 22nd.
Yep.
We'll have to see what goes from there. Do you
Right.
think this is going to be a quick in-out deal, or are they going to argue for a while?
For which one are you?
On the 22nd.
On the 22nd, there's going to be
The
some
status
back and
hearing.
forth. I'd probably go a couple hours, maybe 2 hours tops, but there's going to be some back and forth. Someone left rubber ducks at D&E Pizza is what they're saying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I remember that now.
Yeah.
I do remember that. There was a lot of them, apparently.
Turtle and duck left outside D&E. Toy ones, from what I heard, someone said. Okay. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think on the 22nd, you're going to see a lot of like Auntie Bev just denying everything and just fighting off all this stuff that the jurors said. She's going to basically say it's a mistrial. I declared it a mistrial. It was a hung
Excuse me.
jury, and they're going to somehow finesse what was on those sheets of paper, and she's going to try to deny the thing, and we're all going to be sitting here like, on and on this thing goes. That's my big concern right now. And until anything otherwise happens, I'm predicting that, right? Well, I'm projecting that, I should say. I'm not predicting it. We're projecting that that's probably what's going to end up happening, because it seems like every time we got them on something, they just wiggle their way out of it somehow, and the thing continues on. And that's the way, even during the hearings, they had a lot of cases where the federal investigators are here. U.S. Attorney Josh Levy is making statements, and then it's ignored.
Yeah.
And just on and on it goes. This thing never even should have gone to trial in the first place. It goes to trial. The trial should have been over with a not guilty verdict. Anything and everything but a not guilty verdict has happened.
Right.
Or a guilty verdict, and it's right in the middle, because I still think that the Commonwealth knows if it's a guilty verdict, that they got a lot to answer for from a lot of people in this state that believe a woman was framed. If it's a not guilty verdict, they have a lot to answer for in this state, because now Karen Reed is going to really light into them with lawsuits and everything.
Yeah.
And what's the way out of it? Hung jury.
Yep. Hung
That's been
jury.
my theory for quite about a week now. Yeah. I'm just like
Crazy.
crazy.
AK $5 says, Brian, I emailed you months ago. Have you considered looking into the Charlotte Lester case in Rhode Island? The girl disappeared and everyone knows who did it. I have not. I apologize that I forgot about your email. I have been so engrossed in the Karen Reed case that I haven't been able to look at anything else. And I apologize. If you want to send me over the information, I can't promise that I'm going to get into it right now. I'm kind of full on into this Karen Reed case until conclusion, or until we get some answers here. And I made the commitment here on my channel that I will continue to do it until her name is free and clear. So send me the email again. I'll take a look at it and see what I can come up with here. Hang on one second. Justice One, J1 Justice, $10. Says Norfolk DA and many of the same investigators, Officer John O'Keefe, Sandra Birchmore, and Justin Root. Hashtag Truth Matters, stronger together patterns and practices. Yes, thank you for that. Hostage takes Curtis, $5. The LTL, you should Oaths reach out to Kirk Minahan about Birchmore. He did a season on the case for Barstool. Yeah, I think Turtle Boy's been on his show a few times and actually talked about Birchmore. Yeah. And then Sarah, $5, says, Brian, your theory of what will happen with Proctor in moving him is very hush-hush. Reminds me of how a Catholic church shuffled people. Very possible. Yeah, it could be. It could be. Micro Kimmy, thank you. Brian, check your text after the live. It's about Turtle Boy. I will. I'll check it out. Thank you for the $2. So we're coming up about an hour and a half here. We're going to probably shut this down in a couple minutes. Maz, any final words here you want to say to the audience? We got about 2,000 people in the chat right now. Tomorrow, I'll just let everybody know. I know my stream's been a little wanky. I got to get that worked out. I will re-upload this tomorrow. It will be crystal clear because it is recording. It's just having issues with streaming. But anyway, any final words you want to kick to the audience?
Yeah, we're just going to keep doing what we do best, guys, and that's just continuing to fight for Karen Reed and back her up and donate money. There's popcorn funds going on right now. I believe Kelly Reed, Nick Rocco, and Paul Cristoforo all have pop-up popcorn shops going on right now. The popcorn's fantastic. I got the hot blazing fire one last time. It was unbelievable. A portion of the proceeds, I think it's 50%, it goes to Karen's fund. So you can look up those stores, buy some popcorn. Popcorn's great. I bought a bunch of bags last time. I'll have to do the same thing again soon. Who I buy from, though, Paul wants me to buy from him. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll buy from Nick or Kelly this time. And they said not to let Kelly win you over, because Kelly can win you over a lot. So it's like, he goes, don't buy into Kelly. I might buy from Kelly. I love Paul, but I might buy from Kelly this time. I feel like I got to buy from Nick though too. So I might buy from. I haven't bought from Nick yet either. So I'm gonna maybe buy from Nick and help him out this
There you
time.
go.
So we'll see. Sorry, Paul. I love you, Paul. But I bought from you last time, so I helped you win last time that competition. So I'll do that. Michelle, Wired Pretty Different, just broke news that she got blocked by Yuri too.
Oh,
I just saw it
nice.
on Twitter. So
she got a badge of honor.
Yeah, she
That's
got the
awesome.
badge of honor. So apparently he's been finding out who all of us are on X and just blocking he's probably just looking at free Karen Reed tags and just blocking every single account or something. So
I love it.
That's been going on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell everybody too that I'm going to start doing my 25% kickback here too. A little confusing tonight. Again, I have Maz live in the studio, so to kind of pay attention to everything and keep chats going, I definitely will start doing that again, and start, giving kickback. I think the total before the end of trial, I totaled everything up. It was just over $5,000 that I kicked back to Karen Reed's defense fund. So
Nice.
I want to thank every single person that helped make that possible through your donations, your super chats. And then I just took 25% and kicked it back to Karen, and I will keep that going here. Real quick, let me just get this off. Free Karen Reed 2024, $5. I'm dying to know more about the duffel bag the Fed seized from MP. I haven't heard about
that either. No.
I don't know. Can you tell me who's MP?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Michael Proctor?
Michael Proctor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That would
could
be Michael
be, yeah.
Proctor.
Yeah.
I
Not
don't
sure
know.
about
I didn't
that
hear
story,
anything
yeah.
about that.
No, me neither.
Nico 2020 says Ducks at D&E. SB lead by Yuri investigation. State police used tweezers and gloves and asked for video surrounding shops. It doesn't surprise me. Let's see. Olivia says Yuri blocked us a while ago, just like the time when I saw Jill Daniels' real Twitter profile and saw it was blocked as well.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I
Yeah,
figured
Michael Proctor. Sorry,
I
guys.
haven't visited his profile in months, so I think I've been there once or twice occasionally. That was it. And I'm like, I don't usually venture into the darker profiles of Twitter too much.
Yeah, I tend to just kind of do my thing, and then anybody that comes at me, I just ignore them. I'm going to tell you right now, the best way, if you don't want to engage with anybody, the best way is just ignore them.
Yeah.
Just ignore it. I don't write anybody back.
Right.
I just do my tweets.
You
What are
see
you
a
gonna say?
comment from Kelly here?
No.
Kelly just wrote, only one girl gets you into court, Mazza and Brian. So she's like, you're buying a popcorn from me, and that's it. So hopefully we don't have to. Hopefully none of us have to go.
Kelly,
back
I'll be
again.
in
Yeah.
touch. I'll make a big donation.
We'll buy popcorn for you right now. I'm going on my phone. I'm going to do it. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. All right.
I love it.
Sorry, Paul. Sorry, Nick. Kelly spoke. She's she's hooking us up with seats inside. So yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Mazza, we're gonna shut this one down. Hour and
good.
30. It was great having you here in the studio. Hope you enjoyed your time
Great
here.
time here.
And
It's
you're
awesome.
you're welcome back at any time. When I get all these cameras worked, I don't know what the hell's
Yeah.
going on.
That's all
But let me just one last super chat here. It says Sean shared the info about the duffel bag and the wiretaps. I wish, I'm going to tell everybody right now, I wish I had more time to watch everybody. I don't.
Yeah.
I work full time.
Yeah.
I try to absorb as much information around this that I can.
Yeah.
And then I just come on my lives. And I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't really tend to watch a lot of people because of this. I don't want them to really influence what I have to say or I just like to be kind of
more organic.
Yeah, organic.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against that. I love all the creators. I shout them all the time. I just don't have the time.
It's
I
a
just
lot-
don't have the
it's a
time
lot
to do it.
focus on. Sometimes I just tune in for a bit on each show.
Yeah,
I'll watch you for 30 and
Yeah,
for 30,
if I'm on lunch and I can grab a show and and catch it, or if I heard something like, oh, you got to go watch this, I'll check it out if I have time. Beck, thank you so much for the $5 Aussie. Says thanks for keeping me company at the beach. She's at the beach right now
Lucky
in
her.
Australia. Look at that. Love you guys.
In
Always a good
Australia,
time.
wow. Jeez.
That's awesome. Thank you for watching. So it's daytime over there right now, and we're going into nighttime here.
Right, exactly.
But anyway, Kelly Reed says, I love you guys. We love you, Kelly.
Love you too.
We love everything that you've done for Karen and allow us
Yep.
to kind of be in this circle. You know, it's really great to know that the family and Karen herself and everybody involved has been very accepting of what we're doing, what we've done. And we, you know, again, it just comes down that we just want to help.
Yep,
That's it.
that's
We
right.
just want to help.
Yep.
That's all I want to do here.
That's right.
So I don't know. I think that's gonna end it, man.
Yep.
All right.
That
Well, say
works.
bye to everybody. I'm gonna
Take
hit the
care,
outro.
everybody. Good seeing
And
you guys.
Mazza, anytime you want to come in, you're always welcome
good
in.
to me.
You're
Sounds
always
good.
welcome in.
Free
All right.
Karen Reed.
Free Karen Reed. We're gonna
Yep.
hit the outro. Bye, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Take the chance to trap